What's up and welcome to the news? Neurotic rhinos, sitting wearing suit and ties, bantering, saying ironic witticisms to each other across the room in a living room. Oh, in an animation sense, not quite like stick figures, but a little bit better. And then one of them's bisexual, and the other one leans over and blows a kiss to the woman's husband, yeah. And it's a cheeky animation sequence, oh yeah. Another try is to use satirical comedy among giraffes sitting around having cappuccinos, and they all of a sudden discuss something unique in the current events. It is a quantum idea machine that in essence will transport them back in time and give them the power and the energy to be able to transition and transpose into bodies that were their past bodies, but at the same time they are humans because these giraffes are in the future and they used to be humans and such things, and so they figure it out and they come back in time and they're able to use their human bodies to then be able to facilitate what should be happening today, because today is the future, today is now. And yeah, welcome to the news again, welcome to the news. That was just a strange little introduction, oh yeah, if you will. But what we're talking about is trying to get those giraffes into people's humans' bodies, because these giraffes into the future, and so those giraffes can talk, and so they go back into the past because they have this quantum mechanic accessing machine and such things. And what they try to figure out is business, from the past, and they know the answers in the future. So what they do is they try to use that to their advantage in the past, and they try to communicate to the past because they can do that in the future, because quantum mechanic craziness is able to break through space and time through the computing power and such things that they've got available to them. So what they would do is they'd be transmitting messages to themselves to be able to, in essence, tell them to make a comedy marketing agency, a marketing agency that's based on comedy. It's based on making musicals and comedies and silly items that are strange and unique and very absurd and obtuse and peculiar and nutty and such things that grab people's attention, that are basically strangling people's attention, that are basically begging for attention, for mercy, because the stories in of themselves are so strange and weird and peculiar and off the wall that they need a necessity for attention, because there's no reason for them not to have it, and things are just so strange in that world that they may as well just be looked at, because why not? Things in the normal world just seem to be like going in a flow, in a system, in a systematization sense, and sometimes things that are out of that system sequence situation cause a little more joy or happiness or peculiarity or a fun little wink of the eye or a stroke of the hair when passing by, to make a second thought and add to the programs that are internal to better oneself, to better people, so that they're just a little bit enlightened by stories that are strange, that are strange ways and frames of certain concepts and ideas and ideals, to be able to grow and edify and become a little more enlightened through strange ways of looking at things and strange metaphors and strange ways of twisting ideas and concepts through the essence of comedy, oh yeah. And so using a marketing agency that is comedy based is in essence a strange way to be able to try to conceptualize and connect with marketplaces through developing a comedy marketing agency, to be able to try to develop stories and such things that really twist the arm and are able to try to take hold of people's attention, because attention is the thing that causes retention in terms of overall business driving energies and results that are able to continue to drive awareness to certain brands and brands awareness and brand facilitation in the marketplace, because it's got to be also implemented, and implementation takes an instance of consistency and continuity, and that continuity is necessary to be able to be established and furnished based on something strange and arm twisting and peculiar and eye popping and out of the ordinary and knee slapping and butt patting and nut kicking and such things of this nature, to be able to eye pop the situation from the normal frame of mind, just to begin with, just to get an ad across to someone, just to get a marketing agency to communicate to the consumer. Once they've found the right consumer and once they've found the niche audience to begin with, they need to eye-open their consumer so that they are able to consume something unique and they are also able to gain value. So it's kind of like both. It's a necessity to have comedy, but also a necessity to have edutainment. So they're edutained and entertained and edu-entertained. Oh yeah, it's using comedy because comedy is a cheeky way to be able to slide across concepts that are actually real. Oh yeah, it's like fake businesses that have happened in the past and have also been successful by trying things sense, necessarily. It's a similar thing like that, because you're transposing a story, and you're transmitting something that's strange and unique, and grabs people's attention. It necessarily has to snag their attention and just actually whirlwind their attention like a little bit of a tornado over their face, and all of a sudden they are consumed by what's going on in front of them and in their place and space, because it consumes their little bubble and world for a moment's notice, because it just kind of is a necessity to just acknowledge where their brain is at to begin with, because that's where you're fishing for them to begin with, because they're in your niche audience to begin with, and as a result you're able to communicate with them because you've targeted them, and as a result you've already connected to their core interests and their pain to begin with, because that's why you're searching for them to try to solve their problems. And that's why philanthropy energy is at the back end of all businesses, because you're trying to solve their problems, and philanthropy energy is trying to connect with their pain in essence and try to resolve that pain, and in essence they don't even realize that they're thinking about that pain because they're being bombarded by 200,000 advertisements a day, or 200,000 stimulations a day, or 200,000 different people trying to irk different feelings to their attention in different ways. But they have specific pain points that cater to their specific interests and their specific wants and their specific desires to cater to the most core mainframe in their lives, to be able to make those influences, to be able to cause the greatest change in their own mainframes of their own purposes in their own lives. And so if you can interact with that code, if you can transist and transmit a message that is unique in a way that comedy can do, and use that, oh yeah, we're talking like in a conceptual sense. So in essence what we're trying to do is stand out to them like a little bit of a woo, woo-hoo, and just right in front of their eyes, so that they're able to look left when they were thinking about looking right, because they have no choice not to look left, because there's nothing else even close, not even nearly, not even a little bit, not even a scotch, not even a scratch, not even a skitch, a little bit as interesting when they look to the right. So they're going to look left no matter what, because you put something in front of them that caters to their needs. It's edutainment, it educates them to begin with, and then it entertains them to end with, and it's both at the same time. You can entertain to begin with, or educate at the end, or a bit of vice versa, or things of this nature. So that is the essence of a comedy marketing agency. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a purposeful interest to go about it in this route, because you want to stand out, and you want to shout for sure, a little bit, but not scream too loud, but maybe somewhere in between screaming and shouting. Okay, do it nice and slow, do it nice and smooth, get the message across like vibes in the ocean, and motion into the room, and then take them for a swim around the town. Okay, that is right. Using a comedy agency, but in this instance, we're talking about doing that, like with the giraffes going back in time, being able to do that because they wanted to do something fun also with their time, but also try to make money and do something purposeful at the same time, because of all those things I mentioned. You can make people laugh and feel good at the same time, but at the same time educate them and help them with their lives, and hopefully help brands become better people as well, because they're able to better help and serve their customer and consumer, because they have better reflections upon their own brand. Oh yeah, and there is an essence of smoothness. Okay, one thing that's interesting conceptually is being able to try it to like paper trade within brands, and like make paper trades within brands, because like you can paper trade in investing world, and you can take energy that's in the investing world. Oh yeah, but it'd be interesting if you could paper trade in the marketing world as well, if you could run campaigns and see, generally speaking, what would happen, like in a similar way of making a paper trade in the investing world. You could paper trade comedy agencies, for example. If you could paper trade comedy agencies, that would be kind of fun to do, and that's something we're actually trying to work towards, is being able to paper trade that energy and conceptualize and quantify that energy before making trades, before being able to trade a certain aspect of comedy energy into the market, to be able to try to make a message that's interesting and fetching, so to speak, and then at the same time have somewhat of an idea of making that trade on the front end, and to be able to understand and fulfill that trade on the back end, because there's a conceptual energy that's measured on the back end conceptually based on the marketing measurements, the market measurements, and the market demand to begin with, and the niche demand, and the niche size, and the audience sizes. Oh yeah, and that brings, because if you're paper trading, then you're quantifying and you're necessarily measuring energy on the front end, and that energy is meant to match the back end. But at the same time, the energy is a little bit hard to quantify in the paper trade sense, in the advertising sense, in the advertising world sense, because you're trying to make sales. You're also investing media, so it's kind of both. It's like sales and investing at the same time. Okay, yeah, but when you're trying to get your message across, you want to test the samples. You can actually ask people. Just ask people for free. Ask them on the street. Ask them one day at a time. Ask them if they would respond to a certain message and how they would respond, if they happen to be a little bit within that nature, if that message corresponds to them just a little bit, just to be able to get a taste, a flavor, an idea of how to paper trade those agency messaging, paper agency ideals with certain products that are attached to certain people that use those products in reality, so that they're edutained and educated and entertained and comedified, and comedy is used on them, and so they consume comedy and they like jokes jokes, and they like to laugh. So all those things kind of come together at the same time, and you can test and try to trade and paper trade against the markets and marketing world and the advertising world, which you typically cannot do unless it's just the purely asset world, unless it's just the purely energy world, unless it's the purely forex world, unless you can purely paper trade on just purely energy in the pure market situation. But when we're trying to paper trade in the marketing agency world, and with the comedy world and the comedy specifically marketing agency world, specifically comedy unique marketing agency realm that stands out in this unique realm, we're trying to paper trade and try to consider how to even spike energies and spike emotions through trading certain jokes to begin with on the front end, and be able to get a reception on the back end, and be able to try to measure a quantification of an essential boost of an energy from one side to another, and test that across multiple people, and then try to paper trade those concepts to be able to get an idea of how the certain joke or certain things that caters to certain folks is able to resonate in the marketplace. So it's necessary to try to paper trade this game is something that's like a work in progress. So if you have any inquisitions of how to improve this process for getting better feedback for paper trading, in terms of getting a better plan for game planning, for becoming better and more season for making trades in the comedy marketing agency world, and yeah, feel free to share your comments or thoughts in an email format, please. Yeah, okay. Ooh, yeah. And it's also necessary to transition to be able to acknowledge that it's necessary to know your customer. Know your customers. Oh yeah. It's necessary to know your customers. Who are they? What are they doing? What are they consuming? How are they? What are they doing for the primary purpose of trying to be able to serve them content that is actually acknowledging and trying to diminish and serve content that prefers serves interest to their pain points, and to pain points that have to do with where their mindsets have been at and where it's sort of going. But it doesn't always have to cater directly to the specific problem and pertain to the specific solution at the specific time of introduction necessarily. That's something you want to segue into as a brand. You want to just make an introduction, but be smooth about it, and also have a very smooth and just kind of cool and collected and calm and interesting but fascinating but fetching introduction to be able to just say, hey, how are you doing? And I have all this stuff behind my door behind me. Then it's just here, but it's meant to solve your problems. It's like icy hot. If your bruised shoulder is hurting a little bit, it's I've got all this icy hot behind me, just letting you know, just saying I'm going to crack my door open, just saying, just so you know, just so that a little bit of my energy comes wafts in your direction, and that therefore we're getting to know each other, and you know me as I'm knowing you as your audience. You're pretty much the audience for me. You're my audience, and I'm just trying to say, hey, how are you? Just a slight introduction. Look what's in my door. You can smell the icy hot behind me as I open the door and just crack it your way, and it just kind of wafts through the door, and now you can smell the icy hot, because that's what I'm selling. And oh yeah, because I wanted to serve you, because I wanted to find you, because I felt like I was passionate about solving your problem. So if you could just please know me, if you could just look at my advertisement, if you could please just look this direction, because I caused you to look this direction, because you needed to look this direction, because the advertisement caused you to look this way, because you had no reason not to, and also you cared about this product because it catered to your interest, and at the same time, it was eye-popping, it was fetching, it was weird, it was very strange, it had some strange peculiarity, popping like that in your eyeballs. Oh yeah, because it's a necessity to be able to break out of the monotony of certain systems and systematizations of your process and flowingness of the day-to-day walking stress, systemizationing, sifting of the self into different situations. Yeah, to try to focus on the best things for you at all times. Okay, and yeah. So what we'll in essence do is start to round it out now and bring you down to the couch to have a snooze until the day comes again tomorrow to bring news back around again. Oh yeah, and just also a quick reminder that in the end of the day, at the end of it all, at the end of investing, at the end of marketing, at the end of making rounds in the business world, at the end of trying to become an entrepreneur, at the end of connecting and facilitating other entrepreneurship connections, at the end of trying to network, at the end of trying to build a portfolio, at the end of trying to build business energy, at the end of trying to build monetary energy, at the end of trying to build philanthropy energy, at the end of all these things, trying to build all these angles, trying to build all these figurative directions while you're trying to add different things in the kitchen to be able to smelter different things while you're smeltering and melting and welding different items in the business sense, in the business vehicle sense, in the business vehicle realm, in the business space sense where you're in the space and you're trying to weld together different parts to be able to make a business vehicle that's functional and able to drive around and pick up and able to grab the most assets, the most monetary energy possible while you're in the process of all this. It's relative and relevant to acknowledge and necessary to acknowledge and relevance for thinking that nothing is in existence until it is in existence. Nothing is in existence until it is in existence. Nothing is in existence until it is in existence. Nothing is in existence until it is in existence, meaning it has not been there, it is not there, it is not worth trading upon, it is not worth reflecting upon, leaning upon too hardcore until that realization has happened, until a trade has happened, until a process or a fulfillment of energy has been realized and that trade has been happened and finished, that trade is transposed, and you have that fresh energy that comes from making and trading a package for new energy, which could be monetary energy, it could be a new purpose, it could be a new machine, it could be that adds new elements of business necessarily, but it's not wise necessarily to bank in a full, wholehearted sense ever on something that does not actually exist. If you have the energy in place necessarily and it should work itself out cool, yes it should. I hope all the packages are in place and everything transitions smoothly and transitions across the line so that the energy transposes and switches over entirely, but just like in the movie, in the beginning of the movie Twister, they tried to run Dorothy, and it didn't work in the beginning. It took some refinement, it took some tools and some detail work, and some resituating in the movie Twister, and in the end of the movie, eventually they got Dorothy to fly. Dorothy is a machine that had to fly in the middle of a tornado to be able to fly eventually and get all the data for the scientists to be able to work with, but it's worth acknowledging that nothing is real until it's real, and it's got to be realized, and realization is a necessity at all given times in the entrepreneurship world. It's a super necessity to be able to also do both and have two mindsets on the front end, be able to try to prepare and transpose all the necessary energies possible to be able to make the trades, but at the same time be able to continue to work as business as usual, always work as business as usual, and never act like anything's realized ever until it's actually realized the trades have actually completed. The energies have traded on both sides of the line, the goal line. The energy goes over one side of the goal line, and the other energy that's supposed to be received on the other side of the transaction, and the energy is received on the other side of the line. Until that time happens, do not change your attitude, do not change your ways, do not change your energy as of a self, and prepare for any kind of a new incoming energy ever until that energy actually lands, until it is real, until it is realized. Once it is realized, then you'll be able to change the business and be able to make all the necessary changes. Always, it's a mindset thing. It's a mindset shift, because a lot of times there's energy there, that's energy that communicates and transposes like it's something that's real, like it's something that's reality, because all the things are in line, and it's supposed to be able to communicate that things are done and finished and necessarily that way, but the last thing that's meant to be done is still to be making the trade and be able to transition and transpose the energy from one side to the other. So just never try to act like something is realized unless it's like it's realized and like it's already been traded and like it's done, like the energy's been transposed, until or unless it actually has, the energy has been transposed, until the energy has been transposed. And when the energy has been transposed, then change the business as it has been transposed, as it is new energy, and then fundamentally shift the processes accordingly. Oh yeah, but wait till the minute, the moment that it has actually transposed and the trade has been completed. Always wait till the trade has been completed. It's very important in a mindset sense and an energy sense to be able to always follow that credo, to be able to never make shifts and changes based upon energy that's being present until that energy is realized and until that energy is traded for the new product and the new process and the new product that the package of energy in the first place has been traded for. And then once it's been traded, then make all the necessary adjustments. Oh yeah! Alright, cool. Hopefully all the way down the line in the business sense that hopefully rings true. Alright, thanks again. Have a good day. Dinky Tech. Bye. Peace. Bye.